Hi friends, in our last session we have completed with our Rankine cycle. In today's session we are going to start with our new cycle, that is Otto cycle. This is Faizan Kagdi and I welcome you all to our lecture series of Basic Mechanical Engineering. So let's begin with our topic of Otto cycle. Now, Otto cycle was basically developed by a German engineer, Nicholas A. Otto, in a year 1876. This cycle is also known as a constant volume cycle. That is basically because heat energy is supplied at a constant volume as well as heat energy is rejected at a constant volume. Okay. Now there are certain assumptions which Nicholas Otto has taken, and this cycle was actually developed for our 4-stroke petrol engine. So remember that 4-stroke petrol engine. The assumptions which he has considered is that first one, working fluid is air. So air is going to behave as an ideal gas. Remember that. All processes are reversible. Then after third point, air is going to behave as an ideal gas. Mass of a working fluid, that is air, is going to remain constant. That is, mass entering the system is equal to mass leaving the system. And next point, heat is supplied from a constant high temperature heat reservoir. Okay. Now the processes which are involved in this cycle are from state 1 to state 2. It is adiabatic compression process. As you can see on your screen, the PV diagram is shown. From state 2 to state 3, it is a constant volume heat addition process. From state 3 to state 4, it is adiabatic expansion process. Okay. And from state 4 to state 1, it is constant volume heat rejection process. And at state 1, finally our cycle gets completed. Okay. Now, first of all, let us understand how a PV diagram is formed. So, Nicholas Otto has told that my engine will have 4 strokes. Okay. The first stroke name will be a suction stroke. Second stroke name will be a compression stroke. Next, power stroke. And fourth one will be an exhaust stroke. He told that suction will take place at a constant atmospheric pressure. So that line is actually not represented on a PV diagram, but you can visualize that a horizontal line is shown representing a pressure P1. Okay, so that line at a constant pressure, atmospheric air is going to enter into a cylinder till it reaches its BDC position. Okay, so from TDC to BDC, air is going to enter, and finally we have achieved a point number 1. So the vertical line from point number 1 represents a bottom dead center. Remember that. That is 4 and 1, containing point number 4 and 1. The vertical line will be BDC, and from point number 2 passing through a point number 3, the vertical line will be called as a top dead center. Okay. So a piston is going to operate between these two dead ends, that is top dead center and bottom dead center. After reaching point number 1, now he told that a piston will move from its BDC towards a TDC, that is a compression stroke will be performed, but compression will take place adiabatically, which means during compression there will be no heat transfer between system and surrounding. Now we know that compression process is represented by a hyperbolic curve. So it is shown by this hyperbolic line from state 1 to state 2, representing that pressure is going to increase but its volume is going to reduce. Now from state 2 to state 3, it represents that heat energy is supplied. So air at that point of time will be present in a clearance volume, that is between top dead center and a cylinder head. So energy is going to be supplied. At that time volume is going to remain constant. Okay. So constant volume heat addition represented by a straight vertical line, in which when heat is supplied, pressure is going to be increased but volume is going to remain constant, represented from a state 2 to state 3. Okay. And QS is the heat energy supplied, which is shown on your diagram, as you can see. Now as soon as we supply heat energy, suddenly an explosion takes place. That is basically expansion or a power stroke is generated. So that is represented from our point number 3 to point number 4. That is our adiabatic expansion process, in which power is generated, and during this time piston will move from its top dead center to a bottom dead center, which means from TDC towards BDC. So it is represented from 3 to 4. Okay. Now pressure is going to reduce. Why? Because whatever pressure was there, it was exerted on a piston. So at the final state 4, pressure will be reduced and a volume of a cylinder will be increased. So final volume V4 is achieved. Okay. Now in the next stroke, that is our exhaust stroke. Piston has to move from its BDC to TDC to remove all the hot gases, right, in actual engine. So before performing that, it is required to bring the air to its initial atmospheric pressure. So what is going to happen? So he told that from state 4 to state 1, the system is going to reject heat energy at constant volume. Okay, so QR amount of heat energy is rejected, and finally a system will come at a point number 1, and from point number 1 in a horizontal direction, that is from state 1 to 0, let's say that 0 is not represented over there, but from state 1, that is from BDC to TDC, finally exhaust stroke will be performed, in which air will be, or exhaust gases will get out from a cylinder. So this is how its cycle is going to operate. Now our main target is to determine efficiency for this cycle. So remember the terms over here, see this diagram carefully. QS is a heat supplied during process from state 2 to state 3, and QR is a heat supplied from process 4 to 1. Okay, 1 to 2 represents a compression stroke, remember that. 3 to 4 represents an expansion stroke, that is power is generated. Okay, so now let's begin deriving efficiency for this cycle. Now we know that efficiency formula is output upon input, so we are going to use the same technique, that is output is how much, so net work done, that is QS minus QR, and input is how much, so input is heat supplied during this cycle. So let's say that first of all we need to determine how much is the heat supplied in this process. So let's say QS is the heat supplied. Now we are going to apply our constant volume formula, that is how much is the heat energy that we can supply at a constant volume process. Remember our properties of gas chapter, we have determined that. So we know the formula of heat transfer, that is Q is equal to MC delta T, right? But if a heat energy is supplied at constant volume, so we would say the specific heat capacity is going to become specific heat capacity at constant volume. So I have written QS is equal to MCV. Now see the temperature limits. Heat is supplied from state 2 to state 3. So we can write T3 minus T2. Okay, so this is our QS. Now next is heat rejected, that is QR. Now we would say that again heat is rejected at constant volume, that is from state 4 to state 1, and again it is done at constant volume. So the formula is going to remain same, that is MCV delta T, right, that is change in temperature. But over here I have written MCV T4 minus T1 instead of T1 minus T4, that is final temperature minus initial. So why? So the reason is that we need just a numeric value of QR, that is a bigger value. We don't require a negative value. If we place a negative value in our equation of our work done, then our answer will be added up. Okay, so for that we just need a numeric value. So in the next step I have written net work done, W is equal to QS minus QR. Now further seeing our efficiency equation, so we know that eta is equal to output upon input, that is capital W upon QS. Substituting a value of W, that is QS minus QR upon QS. Now in the next step further, what I have done, I have cancelled out QS from a numerator, so the equation can be written as 1 minus QR by QS. Okay, now in the next step I have substituted a value of QR and QS, which we have found out. So the final equation becomes 1 minus MCV T4 minus T1 upon MCV T3 minus T2. Okay, so the equation is, final equation of efficiency in terms of temperature is 1 minus, in a bracket, T4 minus T1 upon T3 minus T2. Okay, so remember this is an equation in terms of temperature, but our target is to determine equation in terms of compression ratio, that is called small r. So now for doing that we are going to consider our first process, that is from state 1 to state 2. So now you have to see the diagram very carefully. I am going to apply a TV relation for a adiabatic process. Okay, so what is a TV relation? So we would say T2 by T1 is equal to V1 by V2 raised to gamma minus 1. Now we know that our compression ratio R is equal to V1 by V2. So directly I have written R raised to gamma minus 1. So this equation can be written as T2 is equal to T1 R raised to gamma minus 1. Okay. Now in the next step further, for our process from state for our process from state 3 to state 4. If you see carefully, that is an expansion process. So in this process again adiabatically it is taken place. So we can determine our TV relation. So in this process T3 by T4 is equal to V4 by V3 whole raised to gamma minus 1. Again now we can say that V4 by V3 is equal to V1 by V2. Since V4 is equal to V1 as you can see on your screen on a PV diagram, and similarly V2 is equal to V3. So we can say V4 by V3 is equal to V1 by V2. So directly we can write it is equal to R. So R raised to gamma minus 1. So finally we can write T3 is equal to T4 R raised to gamma minus 1. Let's say this is our equation number 3. Okay. Now putting equation number 2 and equation number 3 in our main equation of our temperature, that is efficiency in terms of temperature. So after substituting we can write eta is equal to 1 minus in a numerator it is bracket T4 minus T1 upon in a denominator in place of T3 I have written T4 R raised to gamma minus 1 from our equation number 3 minus in place of T2 I have written T1 R raised to gamma minus 1. Now if we see carefully from a numerator and denominator, the term in a bracket T4 minus T1 is going to get cancelled out. So the final equation for efficiency is going to become eta is equal to 1 minus 1 upon R raised to gamma minus 1. So this is an efficiency for our Otto cycle, that is for 4-stroke petrol engine. Okay guys, so today we are keeping up till here. I hope that you are clear with the derivation of this Otto cycle. In our next session we will see numerical based on this topic of Otto cycle. So till then, stay tuned and thank you all.